Guys, welcome back to TechDose, and in this video we will look at find the prefix common arrays of two arrays problem, which is from Leetcode number 2657. Let's now read the problem statement. In this problem you are given 0 indexed integer permutations a and b of length n. A prefix common array of a and b is an array C such that C at I is equal to the count of numbers that are present at or before index I in both a and b. Return the prefix common array of a and b. A sequence of n integers is called a permutation if it contains all the integers in the range of 1 to n exactly once. Now let's look at the constraint before we look at any example. In this case, both the arrays are of same length, so let's consider them to be n, and the max value is only 50. So if you happen to write an n square algorithm, then that will be always, you can take it to be maximum of 2500, which is well below 10 to the power of 8. So definitely an n square algorithm is going to pass for our given problem. So let's now look at an example for better understanding. In this case, let's say that our array a and b are of size 4. We already know that for each of the array, the size will be equals to n. So they both will be of equal size. And each of the array elements will be a permutation in the range of 1 to n. And there will be no duplicates at all. So our goal is to find a result array which is of the same size n as the size of a and b, in such a way that if I write x here, then the meaning of x will be the number of common elements in both a and b until the given index I. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Let's say that if I consider this index 0 slice, so in this slice I will be counting how many elements are common in both a and b. So a has only 1 and b has only 3. So is there anything common? So there is nothing in common, so we will be writing 0 common elements. Now if I will be slicing at this index 1 and I will be counting how many elements are common from index 0 to 1 in both a and b, you will find that 1 is common. Even though they are present at different location, it does not matter. So 1 is common and 3 is also common. So there are 2 elements which are common. So I will write 2 here. If you look at this index 2 slice, then I will be counting right from the beginning till the end that how many elements will be common here. Well, the number of elements which were common already will definitely be common, right? So 1 and 3 are going to be common, and you will find that this 2 is a new element in A, and in B there is 4. So 4 is not present in A until now, and 2 is not present in B until now, right? So it will again be 2. Now if I create a slice at index 3 and find out how many elements are in common in between A and B, then what will happen is we are adding 4, so we will be finding is 4 already present in B. So yes, it is present. And is 2 already present in this A? Yes, it is present. So the total count will now become 4 because all the elements are now present, right? So if I create any slice, let's consider a general slice at index 1. Then I will be iterating for all the elements in A, and I will be finding for every element. Let's say for 1, I have to iterate for all the elements in B and search if 1 has been seen. And this will require order of n time in the worst case, and the same will be repeated for this 3. So for every element we will be doing order of n searches, and for a single partition maximum we can have n number of elements, so this will be order of n square. But we can have order of n partitions as well, like we will be partitioning at 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So that is why the complexity will become order of n cube for the brute force approach, right? So you can try that, you may pass it because the n value is less than equals to only 50, right? Now let's see a better technique using set. It will save our time in the searches. Let's say that I will be iterating for the first item here. So for every item here, I will be searching for the items present in the slice in B. So what I will do is I will create a set B, and I will be inserting all the elements seen until now, until the index I of B into the set, so that the searches become faster. So I will be pushing this 3 here. Now this set is unordered, so that we have better search time in theta of 1. So 3 has been inserted. Now when 1 comes in, then we will be searching 1 in this set. If it is present in the set, we can do lookup in O1 time. If this 1 is present, then we will increment the counter for this particular position, saying that there are these many common prefix items. Okay, so there is no 1, and we are done with this slice. Now we will be going to the next slice, which is at 1. So if we go to the next slice, the new element seen is 1. So I will be pushing 1 into the set. And now I will again be iterating for all the elements in the array. and I will be checking like, is 1 present in the set? Yes. So the counter value will be increased. Is 3 present in the set? Yes. So the counter value will be increased. So in this particular way, we don't have to search by iterating through all the elements of B as we saw in the brute force, but we can do lookup in O1 time. Right. So for the first case, for the first slice, the answer would have been 0 because there was no prefix between 1 and 3. But for the second slice, both the items 1 and 3 are present and our count value is 2. So that is why this will become 2. Now for the next slice at 2, what we will do is we will be inserting this 2 into the set. So again I will be iterating for all the values and I will be taking a counter equals to 0. So 1 and 3 are already present, but if you search for 5 it is not present. So the count value will stop at 2 and therefore the result at 2 will be 2. Now we will be going to index 3 and at this point we will be inserting 4 into the set B, and again I will be iterating for all the elements right from the beginning till index 3. So if I search, I will be restarting my count from 0. 1, 3 and 2 will be found into the set, but 5 will not be found. So the count value will be 3 and therefore I will be writing 3 here. Okay. Now our result size should be the n size, so this will be of size 4. So I will be going to the new slice as well, the new index. So in this case 5 will be inserted and again I will be searching right from the beginning till the end, and definitely for the last index your answer is always going to be the n value because everybody is a permutation of the n numbers, right? So at the end everything will be common, everything will fall within the prefix, so it has to be 5. So this will be our answer. In this particular case, for every slice position we were inserting the array element from B into the set B, right? So the insertion is, let's say, theta of 1, so we will be taking order of 1 for it, and then for every slice I was iterating through all the elements right from the beginning to that index I. And therefore if you can imagine, for the first slice we were iterating for 1 item, for the second slice we were iterating 2 items, third slice 3 items, and the last slice n items. So total it will be order of n square. So order of n square multiplied by order of 1 in the lookup time in the set. So the time complexity will be order of n square and the space complexity due to the set will be the size of B, which is order of n. So this is the set approach and this is definitely going to pass for the given problem. But let's see if there is any better solution. So we can use the greedy counting idea. In this particular case, let's take a simple example of A and B where we have 2, 1, 3 and 3, 2, 1. Okay. So the idea here is since all the numbers are in the permutation range of 1 to n without duplicates, then I exactly know that if I parse through the entire array, then I will be seeing the elements 2 times. Definitely 2 times. If I consider it will be occurring 1 time in A and 1 time in B. So if let's say that I will be creating a slice here, let's say, then if I iterate from left to right, if I assume that 2 occurs in both A and B, then the frequency of 2 until this index 1 by considering both A and B will be 2 times. And if 1 is occurring 2 times, then 1 will also be common in both, but 1 is occurring 1 time. So if 1 is occurring 1 time in either A or B, then its frequency value will be 1 if I consider all the elements of A and B, right? So this is the idea. So if you have not seen an item until now, then the frequency value will be 0. If you have seen an element in either A or B, the frequency value is going to be 1. But if you have seen the elements in both A and B, the frequency value is going to be 2. So I will be taking a frequency array of size n plus 1 because whenever you create an array, it will be creating from 0 to n if you take the array size to be n plus 1. And since we know that the array elements are going to be 1 to n, so 0 will be acting as a dummy, right? We will not be using it. So we are interested only from 1 to 3 and we are taking a frequency array. So what I have to do is I will be starting from this index 0 and I will be incrementing the frequency at 2. So if I increment frequency at 2, it will become 1. And if I increment frequency at 3, it will become 1. I can keep a counter which will be 0, right? So I have to build a resultant array which will say that how many elements are common until the given index I. So this will be of size n, right? So since the counter value is 0, that means there are no elements in common if I consider the first slice. So that is why this here will be 0. Now when I go to the next iteration, For this 1, I will be incrementing the frequency of 1 to 1 and increase the frequency of this 2. Now as soon as the frequency of 2 becomes 2, then that means 2 has been seen 2 times, and since there are no duplicates in the array, so 2, if it occurs 2 times, this means that it must have occurred in both of them. So that is why I will be incrementing the counter, and whatever is the counter value I will just be writing here, right? So now I will be going to the last index, let's say index 2. So I'll be incrementing this 3 and this becomes 2. This means 3 has now been seen 2 times, so increment the counter to 2. And if I have to increment this 1, this becomes 2 as well. That means 1 has occurred 2 times, and since there are no duplicates of 1, it must have been occurring in both A and B. So I'll be incrementing the counter, and so I will be getting a 3 value here, right? So since the n value was equals to 3 from 0 to 2, so this is where the result will end, right? And this is what we need to return. Okay, so this is the idea of the greedy counting approach. Now let's look at the dry run of the greedy counting approach. So let's take an array of size 5, and B will also be of 5 size, frequency will be of 6 size, and this 0 will be the dummy index, and the result will be of 5 size as well. So I will be initializing a counter equals to 0, which will tell me how many prefix matches are present currently, and I will be starting from index 0. So I'll be pushing 1. So when I push 1, the frequency becomes 1. This means 1 has been seen only in A, but not in both. Okay, so I have to push 3 as well, and the frequency is 1. That means 3 has only been seen in B but not in both. So since the counter value is 0, I will be putting a 0 here because there are 0 prefix matches until now. So I'll be moving to index 1. So for 1, I will be inserting the frequency of 3. So frequency of 3 will be 2 now. This means 3 has been seen in both A and B, so the prefix counter will increase by 1. Now for this 1, the frequency will be increased to 2. This means 1 has been seen in both A and B, so the frequency will be 2. So I'll be writing 2 here because the count of prefix was 2. Now for this index 2, 5's frequency will be increased, so this is 1, and 2's frequency will be increased, so this is 1. So this will remain to be 2. Now if we go to index 3, 2's frequency will increase and this becomes 2. That means this 2 has been occurring in both A and B now. So the counter will be increased by 1. For this 4, you can see that its frequency will become 1. So the counter value is 3. Okay, fine. So we are going to this 4. So 4's frequency will be increased to 2. So now 4 is occurring in both of the A and B. So I'll be increasing the counter. And 5's frequency will increase by 1. So this becomes 2. So increase the counter. So here you will have a 5. And we are done. So once we are done, we just have to return the resultant array. In this particular case, we have been iterating through the entire array exactly one time, and incrementing the frequency is just O1. So the time complexity will be order of n, and the space complexity will be order of n due to the frequency array. Let's now look at the code. If you are someone who is looking to prepare for top product based company within a limited time of just 3 months, then we have brought for you both the DSA and the system design live interview training program. The most important feature of this program is you get a filtered and condensed structured curriculum, in-depth discussion of all the topics, and my guarantee of your understanding, one-on-one guidance with me, and live weekend classes. To know more about the training, you can WhatsApp us on this given number. Let's start from the frequency approach. So here we are given A and B, and I will be creating a frequency array of n plus 1 size initialized with 0 and a resultant array of n size. So I'll be keeping a counter equals to 0 and iterating through all the elements. So whenever I see an element, I will be just incrementing its frequency. If the frequency count is 2, I will be doing count plus plus. Again, the same goes for B. I will be incrementing the frequency of B at I, and if the frequency is 2, then I will increase the counter. So at the end, after incrementing both the frequencies of the corresponding ith index, I will be checking the count and I will be storing it at result at I. After iterating through all the indices, I have to return the result. So this is order of n approach, and this is the optimal approach. Now if we look at the suboptimal approach using the set, then in this approach we are again given A and B, and I will be taking a resultant array of n size. I will be taking an unordered set which will be containing all the seen elements of B. So I have to iterate through all the items, and I will be storing the B at I into the set. So I will be doing the prefix match and pushing the common items into the result, and finally returning the result. How to do prefix match? So for the array A, if I have to go till index I, then for each element A, B, C, D and so on, I will be searching if it is present in B as well, if this is present in B as well, and so on, right? So I will be counting how many elements from index 0 to the size index, where the size is I, how many elements are common in B2. So those many prefixes are occurring, and that is why that will be the prefix match count, and this is what will be returned and will be pushed into the result. So I hope you got the idea. So these were the optimal and suboptimal approaches. If you still have any doubt, then feel free to comment below and I'll try to help you as soon as possible. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.